saved because of my experience working at ISS Facility Services, where I gained valuable skills and knowledge. In the year 2001, I was offered a position as a professional cleaner at ISS Facility Service, where I was assigned to work on a two-person cleaning team. My colleague was an amiable individual, but he had a tendency to take shortcuts and had his own unique approach to completing tasks. Unfortunately, learning from his methods led to me receiving my first customer complaint sooner than I had anticipated. One of the vivid memories I hold is the persistent remarks from my biological father and my brother, who often insisted that I lacked the resilience to handle confrontations and navigate challenging situations. Their skepticism weighed heavily on me as I found myself faced with a difficult predicament. However, I was determined to defy their expectations, as I had previously demonstrated by choosing not to return to Rawvik after my brother's rejection. This time, I was about to prove them wrong once more. Instead of shying away from the confrontational encounter with the irate customer, I made a conscious decision to attentively listen to their grievances. Despite the absence of my teammate, I resolved to return to the task at hand, fully intent on rectifying the situation. I painstakingly repeated the entire job, ensuring that every mistake was amended. The sense of fulfillment that flooded over me when the previously dissatisfied customer transformed into a content one, coupled with the praises I received for my efforts, left me with an immense feeling of validation and accomplishment. Although initially met with disbelief and mockery from my father and brother, I found myself increasingly proud of my work as a cleaner. I began to comprehend the vital role of this profession in upholding the functioning of society. Without cleaners, essential establishments would remain filthy and unusable, disrupting the flow of everyday life. My sense of fulfillment grew as I witnessed the tangible results of my efforts, observing the metamorphosis of unkempt, neglected spaces into clean and inviting environments. This newfound pride was especially gratifying as it served as evidence of my capabilities, proving my father and brother wrong in their doubts about my chosen path. As I progressed in my job, I discovered that I became adept at compartmentalizing my interactions with my biological parents and dealing with their daily phone calls. Over time, these calls morphed into a somewhat obligatory check to ensure that their marriage was still intact. While I felt a sense of duty to engage in these conversations, I also experienced a palpable relief once the calls concluded, allowing me to refocus on my life in Tromsø and take pride in my role as an ISS employee. As I advanced through the ranks at ISS, I found myself in the role of a team leader. This new position allowed me to observe my team members more closely. What struck me the most was the number of Christians in my team. Despite the professional setting that discouraged personal conversations, I couldn't help but notice how their faith permeated every aspect of their lives. Their actions and attitudes in the workplace were a testament to their beliefs, and it was evident that they possessed something that I yearned for but couldn't quite grasp. Although our busy schedules limited our personal interactions, I couldn't ignore the profound impact their faith had on them and the stark contrast it formed with my own life. Growing up, I never had the chance to experience the affectionate words, "I love you," or "I'm proud of you," from my biological father. This absence left an enduring void in my heart. My longing for paternal love and approval found solace in praise and admiration from my department heads. Their acknowledgement of my efforts fueled my motivation and drive to excel in my work. However, this yearning for validation, stemming from the absence of paternal love, led me to dedicate excessive time to my work. I found myself constantly engrossed in my professional responsibilities, always available at the beck and call of my department heads. This unrelenting focus on work became an all-consuming aspect of my life. I found myself deeply yearning for the sense of inner peace and fulfillment that my Christian colleagues seemed to possess. However, the realization that achieving this would entail working less took a lot of work. It meant letting go of the need for external validation, a need that stemmed from a profound absence of paternal love. The thought of embracing this change was intimidating and left me feeling vulnerable. At that moment, I was unaware that I was faced with a choice between longing for the love and approval of my biological father, a relationship that seemed unattainable, and embracing the love and support of my heavenly Father. I found myself unable to implement the desired change, so I immersed myself more deeply into my professional duties. As a highly skilled cleaner and adept problem solver, I prided myself on my ability to always step up and resolve any challenges presented by my department heads. However, as I continued to evade making the necessary decision, I found myself sinking deeper into a persistent feeling of despondency. On the morning of September 11, 2001, a day forever etched in my memory, I found myself at work in an automobile shop in Tromsø. It was a day that started with little sleep, having only managed about 5 hours the night before. As I went about my work, the sound of a radio in the background caught my attention with the startling news of an aircraft crashing into one of the iconic Twin Towers in America. The atmosphere was filled with disbelief and concern as the enormity of the situation sank in. Later, after returning home in the evening, I turned on the news and was met with the harrowing reports of a second aircraft striking the other tower. It became undeniably clear that this was no mere accident, but a deliberate and despicable act of terrorism. The realization that someone, or a group of people, could orchestrate such a horrendous event filled me with an overwhelming sense of fear and sadness. Amidst this turmoil, I felt a powerful and profound moment of divine intervention. I heard what felt like a direct message from Jesus, urging me to stop evading the need for change. It was a sobering warning, conveyed with conviction, that if I did not take heed and adjust my course on that very day, I risked straying from the light and potentially treading a path where my actions could mirror the malevolence of the terrorists, or potentially exceed it. On that life-changing day, I made the conscious decision to transform my approach to work, aspiring to attain the same sense of fulfillment and spiritual connection that my Christian colleagues embodied. I resolved to prioritize my well-being and personal values, even if it meant reducing my workload and relinquishing the admiration of my superiors. This also meant letting go of my enduring longing for acceptance and affection from my biological father. It marked the beginning of a profound shift in my life, a day that heralded my personal salvation and a newfound sense of purpose. I found myself completely baffled when the spirits I once recognized as my spirit guides abruptly reappeared, seemingly attempting to prevent me from attending church. Concurrently, I was taken aback when my biological father initiated a web of lies involving a supposed life-threatening illness. This perplexing series of events is a tale I am looking forward to sharing in a forthcoming blog post.